SportsCenter right now, I'm Antonieta Collins. Even though Joe Flacco is fully recovered from his hip injury, rookie quarterback Lamar Jackson will start for the Ravens this Sunday against the Bucs. Jackson, who was basically thrust into the starting role in Week 11, led Baltimore to a 3-1 record since then. Here's what Flacco had to say about being number 2.
This is just what it is at this point. I've obviously had 5 weeks to think about it and prepare myself for this situation and the possibility of it. But he's done a great job. I'm really happy for what he's been able to go out there and do. And, we're winning football games.
Are you able to say that, ready to say that? This is your team?
It's our team. All of us together. It's our team. I don't go out there and block. I don't go out there and catch the ball. I don't make tackles. I just do my part. It's all our team. I know I have to focus on everything a lot more, just bettering myself and trying to, join with everybody around me even more. That's about it.
For Baltimore, the road to the playoffs will come down to making plays in the passing game. The Ravens face tough defenses in 2 of their final 3 games, highlighted by a Thursday night clash with the Chargers. Now, let's get you back to First Take.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to First Take. We will get into Lamar Jackson and the Ravens potentially making a playoff push in just a bit. But if you're just joining us, our guy Dana White with us. Earlier in the week, Oscar De La Hoya was here and kind of personally attacked you and your business, Dana, and also essentially saying you don't take care of your fighters. Right. One of the examples he brought up was Chuck Liddell, and I know that one especially irked you.
Yeah, I've a long-time relationship with this guy, and we've taken very good care of Chuck Liddell. And, it's like I say, it's one thing to lie amongst your friends or whatever, but to go on ESPN and lie. I talked to Chuck Liddell last night. Chuck Liddell told me it's absolutely not true that he's making more money over there than he made in the UFC, which, I think everybody who has any common sense knows. Oscar De La Hoya is lying about how successful the show was. And listen, it happens. This is the guy's first show. He knows nothing about the sport, doesn't even try to know anything about the sport. That's a lie, too. That's the bottom line. These are what you call facts. The guy has no facts. And anytime Oscar De La Hoya wants to sit down with me face-to-face and go over numbers on events, I'll even use the numbers off the Toronto show. Not like I'm going to come at him with Conor and Khabib. We can do that any day of the week. The difference is I'm not going to come on ESPN and lie.
Well, just to be clear, Dana, because I invited him back and I asked him right here on national television whether or not he would be interested in having a face-to-face conversation with you right here on this show about exactly what you're talking about, because he took it a step further. Basically, what he's trying to say is that he thinks he would do a better job of taking care of fighters and promoting the sport than you would. That's basically the challenge that he was talking about.
Well, he proved it. He showed up on stage, had a press conference, didn't know any of the guys' names, didn't do anything, didn't write them down. And then his event, $580,000 was the payout to the fighters. The people on the undercard made $95,000 compared to the UFC's $1.2 million. Listen, Stephen A., the guy's a moron. Okay? And any day he wants to go head-to-head with numbers with me and talk about the business, or even talk about the business of mixed martial arts, how much money is he going to reinvest into the sport? We've reinvested millions and millions of dollars to build this sport globally. How much has he reinvested into the sport of boxing? The answer is zero. In boxing, every fight is like a going out of business sale. These guys are trying to grab as much money as they can and get out of Dodge.
Right. And I think that's really, first of all, of course, De La Hoya and everyone else wants to be in the MMA business. Dana, credit where credit's due. The business didn't exist before Zuffa came in and you came in and structured it and went toward regulation instead of away from it and built up this kind of fertile ground where now everyone wants to cash in. But boxing people were bad-mouthing MMA for decades or for 15, 20 years now. As you were building it up, now they all want a piece. But I want to get back to what I asked earlier. De La Hoya seems to be saying, hey, you can be Floyd Mayweather with me. In other words, there's no I'm not going to cap what you can make if you're a big star. I'm going to get you as much money as possible. And your business model seems to be, forget about having a Floyd Mayweather once every 10 or 20 years. Everyone's going to eat here. But in order to do that, we must control labor costs in order to have a successful organization. So the top end doesn't make so much more than the bottom end that these guys are making $1,500 a fight or something like that.
Yeah, we run a business. That's the difference. This is a business. We run a very successful business. Everybody makes money. At the end of the day, if people say, I'm not making enough money, who is making enough money? Show me a guy that says, I make enough money. I'm perfect. I don't need another dollar. You're never going to find that in any sport, any business, anywhere. But at the end of the day, I can prove what I've paid people. We can go on for days.
Is that what you mean by a going out of business sale? In other words, if every day is a going out of business sale, you try to just grab as much as you can in that moment, that's not a sustainable business model.
That's exactly right. If you look at, have you ever seen a business that's created more revenue than boxing? I mean, billions and billions. It could even be trillions of dollars. Who knows? I don't know the answer to that. And what's there at the end of the day? There's nothing. They live fight to fight. And, if you look at what we've done over the last 18 years and watch what we do over the next 5 years with this sport, with this business, we're obviously the leaders. There's tons of people involved in it. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you this, Dana, because obviously we're talking about Oscar De La Hoya venturing into your territory from the sport of boxing. That's basically what he's alluding to.
Right.
What about Dana White? I mean, you doing the UFC, have you thought about venturing in to boxing territory to just show what you can do? Have you thought about that? Are you entertaining that?
Absolutely, 100%. And we're working on that right now as we speak. And I'll probably have some announcements and hopefully the next 4 or 5 months. Listen, I can do anything better than Oscar De La Hoya. Believe me. Believe me, we're going to be competing with you too, big guy. And there's plenty of other organizations out there. And if you're a young fighter and you're up and coming, all you have to do is look at this guy, talk to this guy. There's plenty of places to go than to be with Oscar De La Hoya.
That's where I'm going. I got it. He's an idiot. He's a moron.
Yep.
This is what you said.
And he's a liar. Let's say that too. He's a liar.
You throw it all out there. But again, do you accept any? Listen, do you, Dana White, accept any culpability in this friction that presently exists because you went as far as to call a guy a cokehead, Dana? That's not you, Dana. You don't do that.
You know what? If you want to come battle with me, this is what you're going to get. I've been this way since the day, we're putting on this big event, big fight. I've promoted some of Oscar's fights, and he's done the same for us for UFC fights. Then he comes out and tells people, do not watch this event. It will kill boxing. You shouldn't do this and that. Who does that?
That seems to be the key.
Who does that?
That seems to be what lit the fire under you, that he was worried about your business instead of just minding his own, minding his own business.
The guy had Canelo versus Triple G coming up. A great fight.
A fight that you loved.
With two great fighters.
Right.
Promote your fight. Don't worry about what we're doing over here.
Let me ask you this about Oscar, though. Could you give him any credit along these lines? In the history of boxing, fighters almost always went broke after their careers.
Right.
Never really got back into the business on the side where they could earn money as a promoter. Oscar really trailblazed. Even if Eric Schaefer put the business together, Oscar trailblazed. And then he made his opponents partners, Bernard Hopkins, Shane Mosley, and he established, so far, a lasting promotional outfit as a former fighter.
Did he do that? Did he do that? When you listen to this guy talk, do you really think that he did that?
Wait a minute, Dana.
There was a lot of smart people. And Richard Schaefer was the guy. You can ask anybody in the industry.
Whoa. Excuse me, I kept saying Richard Schaefer.
The other thing is, let's see where he goes from here. He just showed in this last fight, which he's lying about too, how successful this fight was. Let's see what this guy can do without HBO.
Well, wait a minute, Dana. I got to get on you about that because, listen, here's the reality. You might be the face. He might be the face of Go to Boy Promotions. Richard Schaefer, as you pointed out, Max, might be the brains behind it. But it's finding somebody to delegate responsibility to. I'm an on-air talent. You're an on-air talent, Max. You know what? We delegate responsibilities to others in terms of buffering our careers. You've done that with the UFC. You've done a lot, Dana. There's no doubt about that. But there are people you've delegated responsibilities to. So you don't want to strip Oscar with credit in that regard. But here's the question that I have for you. Just like Max just brought up how he's made boxers somewhat partners. What about you with your UFC fighters? Have you done that with some fighters out there? Are you interested in doing that with fighters out there?
Yeah, no, we've never had a fighter come in as a partner in the business. But what we
I'm not talking about come in, but once it's over. like a Bernard Hopkins, like Max alluded
but
to.
What we've done is we've put guys on salary,
Okay.
Chuck Liddell, Matt Hughes, Forrest Griffin.
Got it.
And after they retire, we continue to do stuff for them like appearances and, in that Chuck Liddell number that we were talking, that was royalties on stuff that we've sold and things like that, a salary and appearances that we've gotten for him.
So I keep saying Eric, he's a director. Richard Schaefer, the way he built the business early was he used Oscar's leverage with HBO, the network at the time, to say, if you want Oscar to fight on your network, we need a certain number of dates for the Golden Boy fighters. Al Heyman did the same thing with Floyd Mayweather. They both built up businesses that way. Now, the UFC is a lot like the NFL in the sense that as big a star as there might be, it's really about the UFC brand more than any one fighter. It's very different from boxing that way. Do you see any threat of any fighter getting big enough where they could start leveraging their own kind of shows by saying, hey, I'll fight for you? Would you ever cut that deal?
Listen, I'm not saying, Conor McGregor is the perfect example. Conor McGregor has been a partner with us, ever since this kid blew up. And when you have guys that become stars that are that big, you got
to face the reality.
You work with these guys. At the end of the day, in your business, you want to make everybody happy. I have 550 fighters under contract. You can't make everybody happy, but you try. You try the best that you can to make every fighter happy, and that's how you run the business.
All right, we got to let you go. Any final thoughts? Anything else you need to get off your chest right now?
No, that's it. Listen, he came out and he said a lot of stupid things, and I wanted to come in and set the record straight. And anytime he wants to come on a major network and lie about anything, I'd be happy to go head-to-head with him.
Any chance for reconciliation?
He said that he would, Dana, he said he would come on this show with you. So the invite is there.
Yeah. He better start going to school and educating himself on the sport before he shows up here and tries to face off with me.
All right, Dana.
I still think they could be friends in the end, ladies and gentlemen. How do you like that?
Okay, we'll all hug it out. Dana, appreciate you. You're gonna have to come back and we'll talk about these cards that I want to get into.
Yeah. By the way, we have a fight on ESPN coming up too.
We'll get into that. Awesome. Great job, guys. Shaq and Kobe dominated the NBA at the turn of the decade, but would they dominate this Warriors dynasty? Second hour, first take coming up next.